We were having dinner when my daughter-in-law said, "You're not half the woman my mother is," and I simply replied, "Perfect. Then let her start paying your rent." My son's expression tightened instantly, uneasy, before he asked, "Rent? What rent?" Have you ever watched someone's expression collapse when they realize the person they've been bleeding dry just grew teeth? My name is Julie Watson. I'm 66 years old, living in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm a widow, a mother, and for 14 months, I was the fool who paid $23,000 to watch my daughter-in-law erase me from my own life. Let me tell you the story of how I got to that moment, how a single sentence can unravel everything. The words came out calm. So calm, my sister Diane looked up from her plate with eyes that said finally. So calm, my son Randall's fork froze halfway to his mouth. So calm, my daughter-in-law Wendy's face went from smug to confused to something I'd never seen before. Fear. We were sitting at my dining room table, the one Richard and I bought 32 years ago at that furniture store on Branch Avenue, the one with the cigarette burn on the edge from his cousin's wedding reception. I'd made pot roast, carrots soft enough to cut with a fork, mashed potatoes with real butter, the kind that leaves a film on your lips, cornbread cooling on the counter, filling the house with that sweet, grainy smell that used to make Richard close his eyes and smile. Wendy had just finished telling me, again, how her mother Barbara knew how to present herself, how Barbara's house always looked magazine-ready, how Barbara understood modern aesthetics and online appeal. And then came the line, "You're not half the woman my mother is." She said it like she was commenting on the weather, like it was just a fact we all understood. Fork in hand, eyes on her phone, not even looking at me. I set my water glass down, slowly, my hand steady even though my chest was on fire. I was furious, the kind of furious that makes your voice go quiet instead of loud. "Perfect," I said. "Then let her start paying your rent." Silence. Heavy, thick silence that pressed against the walls. Randall's head snapped toward me. "What?" I said, and I looked right at Wendy now, watched her freeze with that phone still in her hand. "Let your mother pay your rent, since she's such an incredible woman, since she's taught you so much about being smart with money." Wendy's expression emptied out. Hollow. What are you? 14 months, Wendy. $1,500 a month. That's $21,000. Plus the extra $1,000 for the hospital when Cameron was born. Plus another $1,000 for his birthday party. The one you threw in my backyard with my money after you said you needed it for a venue rental. I could feel Diane smile without even looking at her. $23,000, I continued. From my savings. From selling my jewelry. The anniversary gifts. The engagement ring upgrade. The bracelet Richard gave me when Randall was born. I sold 30 years of my marriage for $5,200, so I could keep sending you $1,500 every single month. Randall's face. God, his face looked like I'd struck him. Devastated. Confused. "Mom, what are you talking about?" "Ask your wife." My voice stayed level. Steady. I'd practiced this in the mirror for 3 days. Ask her about the rent money, the emergency money, the "my mother can't help because her funds are tied up" money. Ask her where it all went while she was posting pictures of $100 brunches and spa days online. Wendy froze completely. "Randall, is it true?" His voice cracked. 39 years old and he sounded like a boy. "Wendy, is it true? The thing about lies? They take up space. They need air. And when you cut off the air supply, they die fast." "I was going to tell you," Wendy whispered. "Tell me what?" "That Mrs. Watson was helping." "My mother?" Randall stood up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. "My mother's been giving you money?" "Us. Helping us." "No." I stayed seated, stayed calm. "Helping you. Because you told me Randall couldn't know. You said his pride couldn't handle accepting money from me. You said your mother was supposed to help, but her money was tied up in investments. You made me lie to my own son for 14 months. I looked at Wendy. Really looked at her. You know what the worst part is? I've done this before. Ignored warning signs. My husband had small strokes for months. Forgot words, stumbled, his handwriting changed. I told myself it was just age, just stress, just nothing, until it was everything, until it killed him. And I did it again with you. Expensive clothes while claiming poverty. Perfect nails while saying you couldn't work. Restaurant photos while taking my grocery money. All the signs were there, but I ignored them. Because I wanted to believe you. Wanted to trust you. Wanted to be the good mother-in-law who helped without question. My husband died because I didn't see what was right in front of me. I leaned forward. But I see you now, Wendy. I see everything. And I will never ignore warning signs again. Randall turned to Wendy like he'd never seen her before. You told her I couldn't know? Little did I know that this moment, this perfect, terrible moment, was just the beginning, because I had receipts, bank statements, screenshots, and Melissa's investigation report sitting in a folder on the counter. 43 pages documenting every lie, every hidden account, every dollar Wendy earned and saved while she bled me dry. But what Randall didn't know yet, what nobody knew yet, was about the watch. Richard's watch. The silver pocket watch with his initials engraved on the back. The one that survived 40 years of marriage, his heart attack 4 years ago, and my grief. The one I gave to Wendy to keep safe for Cameron. The one she pawned for $450. And let me tell you something about betrayal. It's not one big moment. It's 1,000 small ones. It's termites in old wood, eating away at the structure until one day you put your weight on a floorboard and fall right through. I'd been falling for 14 months, but I was done falling now. Let me tell you who I was before all this. Julie Watson. Born Julie Morrison, 66 years ago in a 3-bedroom house on Fairview Avenue, 2 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. Married Richard Watson when I was 24, August 16th, 1983, with 73 people watching and my mother crying so hard she missed half the vows. Richard Watson, my husband for 40 years. Started as a construction laborer, worked his way to site supervisor. Came home every night with sawdust in his hair and that particular smell of lumber and honest work. We bought this house in 1987, painted it ourselves, blue shutters. He said they made it look distinguished. We had routines, Sunday dinners, Friday game shows, Saturday mornings in the backyard, him working on something, the fence, the shed, that planter box for my tomatoes. 4 years ago, Richard had a massive ischemic stroke at a job site, the kind where a blood clot blocks everything. His left side went numb, his speech slurred, and then he was on the ground. His crew called 911 immediately, but by the time I got to the hospital, he was already gone, 66 years old. The doctors said even if he'd survived, he wouldn't have been Richard anymore. I think about it sometimes. The signs I missed. How he'd forget words mid-sentence. Just little things, names of tools, what he'd had for lunch. Getting old, he'd joke. How he'd stumble getting out of bed some mornings. Knees ain't what they used to be. How his handwriting got messier in those last few months. I didn't know those were warning signs. Little strokes. TIAs, the doctor called them later. Transient ischemic attacks. Your brain's way of saying, help, something's wrong. But Richard didn't go to doctors unless something was broken. And by the time something broke big enough to notice, it was too late. After Richard died, I learned how to be alone, how to cook for one, how to make decisions without saying, let me ask Richard first. I kept the house exactly like we had it. The memories were all I had left. I had earned every gray hair from betrayals I'd forgiven, and these hands still carried the weight of building a life before everything got stolen from me one emergency at a time. I lived on about $4,000 a month. The pensions, Social Security, a small savings account Richard left me, $38,000 he'd been squirreling away for 20 years. Emergency money, he called it, just in case. I paid my bills, kept the lights on, bought groceries, got my hair done every 6 weeks at Donna's salon on Marlboro Pike, sent Randall money for his birthday, $200, same as always, sent money for Christmas, sent money when Cameron was born, $500 for the baby fund. I thought I was being generous. I had no idea I was just practicing. Randall married Wendy 3 years ago. Small ceremony at a hotel in Silver Spring. Wendy wore white, which was fine, none of my business. And her mother, Barbara, wore cream, which I learned later was some kind of violation of wedding etiquette. Barbara didn't seem to care. I tried to like Wendy. I really did. She was pretty. I'll give her that. 28 years old when they got married. Hair always styled perfectly with those long braids that probably cost $200. She had a degree in graphic design from the State University, but didn't seem to work much. Freelance, she'd say. I'm building my client base. She'd smile when she said it. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Barbara was worse. 50s, living in a big house in Bethesda, driving a luxury SUV, wearing jewelry that caught the light when she moved her hands. She owned rental properties, 4 of them. She made sure everyone knew. She talked about her investment portfolio and her passive income streams like they were her children. At the wedding reception, Barbara pulled me aside. Champagne glass in hand, that smile that felt like a warning. You've done well with Randall, she said. Raised him right. Hard worker. Good values. I thanked her. Wendy could have married anyone, she continued. Doctors, lawyers, men with family money. But she chose your son because she saw his potential. Potential. Like Randall was a stock she was betting on. I should have known then, but I didn't. Because I wanted my son to be happy. I wanted to be the kind of mother-in-law who welcomed her daughter-in-law with open arms, who didn't criticize, who didn't interfere. Kindness without limits doesn't make you a saint. It makes you a target. And I'd been wearing a bullseye for 14 months. This house, my house, was supposed to be my sanctuary. The place Richard and I built together. The place I'd raised Randall. The place I'd grown old thinking about Richard in every corner. I wasn't rich. But I had enough. I had my dignity. I had my memories. I had my life arranged the way I wanted it. And then Wendy asked for help. And I thought I was being the hero. Turns out, I was just being the victim who didn't know it yet. 14 months ago, October 15th, a Wednesday, Wendy showed up at my door crying. Not pretty crying, the kind with mascara running and red eyes and those hiccuping breaths that sound like drowning. I'd been cleaning the kitchen after lunch. Radio playing old R&B, The Temptations, My Girl, Richard's favorite. My hands smelled like dish soap and lemon pledge. The doorbell rang. I opened the door and Wendy practically fell into my arms. Mrs. Watson, she sobbed. Mrs. Watson, I don't know what to do. I brought her inside, sat her on the couch, pushed away thoughts of Richard. What happened? I asked. Is Cameron okay? Cameron, my grandson. 8 months old then, all fat cheeks and drool and that baby smell that makes your chest ache. He was fine, Wendy said. He was with Barbara. It's Randall, Wendy whispered. My heart stopped. Literally stopped. That moment where your body forgets how to work. Is he hurt? No. No, he's... She took a shuddering breath. He lost his job. The construction company he worked for, where he'd been a project manager for 6 years, had laid him off. Budget cuts. 3 managers let go in 1 day. Randall came home and told her Friday. 5 days ago. We're going to lose the apartment, Wendy said. Rent's $2,300 a month and we have... Mrs. Watson, we have $800 in checking. That's it. I sat there, my hand on her back, feeling her shake. I can get unemployment, she continued, but it takes weeks to process. And Randall's applying everywhere, but construction's slow right now. He might not find something for months. And I'm pregnant. That last word landed like a punch. Pregnant? She nodded. 3 months. We were going to wait to tell everyone, but Mrs. Watson, I don't know what to do. I can't work. I'm supposed to be on bed rest because of complications, and I thought I was opening my wallet to save my family. Turns out I was handing over the keys to my own demolition. What about Barbara? I asked. Wendy's face changed, hardened. Her money's tied up in investments. She can't liquidate anything without penalties. And she's been helping us already. She paid for our furniture. She's been giving us money for Cameron's daycare. I can't ask her for more. The room went still. The radio played the Four Tops. I can't help myself. How much do you need? I asked. Wendy looked at me, eyes red and wet and desperate. $1,500 a month, just for rent, just until Randall finds work. It won't be long, I promise. Maybe 3 months, maybe 4. $1,500. I did the math in my head. 4 months, $6,000 total. That would hurt. That would dig into Richard's emergency fund. But it was my son, my grandson, my future grandchild growing in Wendy's belly. Okay, I said. Really? She grabbed my hand. Mrs. Watson, thank you. Thank you so much. I promise we'll pay you back. As soon as Randall... It's fine. Family helps family. There's one thing, Wendy said. Her voice changed, got quieter. Randall can't know. I pulled my hand back. What? He can't know the money's coming from you. His pride, Mrs. Watson, you know how men are. He'd never accept it. He'd sleep in his car before he'd take money from his mother. So how? Tell him it's from my mother. Tell him Barbara's helping us. He'll believe that. She's been helping with other things. It won't be weird. Something felt wrong. A little voice in the back of my head saying, wait, think about this. I felt uneasy. That gnawing sensation that something doesn't add up. But Wendy's eyes were so desperate. So scared. Please, she whispered. Mrs. Watson, please. I'm begging you. Don't make me tell Randall his mother thinks we're charity cases. I wasn't thinking about charity. I was thinking about my son, about Cameron, about the new baby who needed a roof over their head. Okay, I said. Okay, I won't tell him. Wendy hugged me, hard. Thank you. God, thank you. You're saving us. We agreed I'd transfer $1,500 on the 5th of every month. She gave me her account information, checking account, routing number. Made me promise again not to tell Randall. He'll find out eventually, I said. When he finds work, and you don't need help anymore. And by then, Wendy said, smiling now, it won't matter. By then we'll have money to pay you back and he'll just be grateful. She left 20 minutes later, makeup fixed, eyes dry, smiling. I stood in my kitchen that smelled like lemon pledge and dish soap, staring at the account information written on the back of an envelope. The radio played Marvin Gaye. What's going on? I made the first transfer that Friday. October 18th, 2023. $1,500 from my savings account to Wendy Mitchell, account ending in 7834. I watched the balance drop from $38,000 to $36,500. Emergency money. Just in case. I called Randall that night. Hey, Mom, he said. He sounded tired. Your wife told me about the job, I said. I'm sorry, baby. Yeah, I'll find something. Always do. You taking care of yourself? I'm fine, Mom. Wendy's mother's helping out with some bills until I get back on my feet. We'll be okay. Wendy's mother. The lie sat in my throat like a stone. I felt sick, physically sick, hearing him believe it. That's good, I said. That's real good. Family's gotta help family. Yeah, Randall said. I'm lucky to have Wendy. She's been so strong through all this. After we hung up, I sat at my kitchen table, the one with the cigarette burn, the one where Richard used to sit. I told myself I'd done the right thing. I told myself 3 months would pass fast. I told myself this was what mothers do. Little did I know I'd be making that same transfer 12 more times. That 3 months would stretch to 14. That $1,500 would become $23,000. That I'd sell everything Richard ever gave me just to keep sending money to the woman who'd smile at me while erasing my existence. Little did I know that the envelope with Wendy's account information would become the most important piece of evidence in my life. But that was later. Right then, that Friday in October, I was just a widow trying to help her son. A grandmother trying to protect her family. A woman who thought she was being generous instead of being used. I transferred the money. And every 5th of the month after that, I'd do it again. Like clockwork. Like rent. Like the mortgage Richard and I paid for 20 years to make this house ours. $1,500. Over and over and over. Until I had nothing left. The transfers became routine. Every 5th of the month. Like clockwork. $1,500. My savings account bleeding out. $36,500, then $33,500, then $28,000. I started cutting back. Stopped getting my hair done. Started using box dye from the pharmacy. Stopped buying new clothes. Thrift stores became my friend. Stopped eating out. Diane noticed. "You sure you're okay?" she'd ask. "I'm fine," I'd lie. "Just being careful." By March, 6 months in, I was sitting at my kitchen table with a calculator and bank statements. $9,000. Half of Richard's emergency money. Gone. But what happened next? What I discovered about where my money was really going would make those $9,000 look like pocket change. And that's when I knew I had to do it. The thing I'd been avoiding. I had to sell my jewelry. Every piece of jewelry I sold wasn't just metal and stones. It was a memory being melted down to fund someone else's lie. I kept it in a wooden box on my dresser. Richard gave me that box for our 20th anniversary. Mahogany with a velvet lining and a tiny brass lock. He'd filled it over the years. The engagement ring. Half-carat diamond in a white gold setting. Modest. Perfect. He gave it to me on my parents' porch in 1982, kneeling on the concrete with his hands shaking. The upgrade ring from our 15th anniversary. 1 full carat. I'd insisted he shouldn't. He'd insisted he wanted to. "You deserve diamonds," he'd said. "Big ones." The anniversary necklace. The bracelet from when Randall was born. The earrings from my 40th birthday. The watch he gave me the year he made supervisor. Now you'll always know when to expect me home. 30 years of love in a mahogany box. I took the box to a jewelry buyer on Branch Avenue. One of those places with bars on the windows and a buzzer to get in. The man behind the counter, 50s, reading glasses on a chain, barely looked up when I walked in. "Selling or pawning?" he asked. "Selling." He opened the box, picked up each piece, examined them under a light with one of those magnifying glasses jewelers use. "Gold's down," he said. "Diamonds are decent quality but small. The watch is nice but no brand name." He typed numbers into a calculator. 5,200. Cash today. $5,200 for 30 years. That's $173 per year. $14 per month. 47 cents per day. I stood there in that shop with bars on the windows, my hands empty, my throat tight. I felt hollow, completely hollow, like someone had reached inside and scooped out everything that mattered. "I can go 6,500 if you pawn instead of sell," the man said. 90-day redemption, 7% interest. Pawning meant I could get them back. Pawning meant maybe, if Randall got that raise, if Wendy stopped needing help, if things got better, I could save up the money and reclaim them. "Pawning," I said. "I'll pawn them." He wrote up the ticket, made me sign 3 different forms, gave me $6,500 in hundreds, 65 bills that barely filled my purse. I put the pawn ticket in my wallet, behind my driver's license, like it was important, like it mattered. I never went back. 90 days passed, then another 90. The jewelry got sold to someone else. Someone who'd wear Richard's love on their body and never know where it came from. The months continued, transfers and lies. By October, 12 months since this started, I was sitting at my kitchen table with a calculator and a stack of bank statements. $18,000, 18 transfers, 1 year of emergency money flowing out of my account like blood from a wound. I wasn't looking at financial records. I was staring at a blueprint for my own destruction, drawn up 14 months ago and executed with surgical precision. But I didn't know that yet. I thought I was being generous. I thought I was being the kind of mother who sacrificed for her children. I thought I was building a legacy of love and support and family. I had no idea I was just building my own cage. April 3rd, a Wednesday. I couldn't sleep. I'd been lying in bed for 2 hours, my side, Richard's side still empty, staring at the ceiling and doing math in my head. 15 months, $23,000, plus the extras. My savings account balance now sitting at $13,700 after the last transfer. I got up, went to the kitchen. Made tea I didn't want. Chamomile in Richard's favorite mug, the one that said "World's Best Grandpa" that Randall gave him that last Christmas. The house was dark except for the light over the stove. 2:47 a.m. The same time Richard's foreman called, voice shaking, saying, "Mrs. Watson, you need to get to the hospital." Richard collapsed. They're saying it's a stroke. I sat at the table with the cigarette burn, and I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I got out my phone, opened the app, found Wendy's profile. I started scrolling. March 29th. Photo of Wendy at brunch. White tablecloth. Mimosas in fancy glasses. Self-care Sunday with my girls. 3 heart emojis. Location tagged. A restaurant in Bethesda I'd driven past once and knew was expensive. March 24th. Photo of her nails. Long, perfect, airbrushed with some kind of design. New set. Who dis? 23 likes. March 18th. Photo of shopping bags from expensive stores. Treating myself because I deserve it. But what I saw next, what she'd posted just 2 weeks earlier, made my hands start shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. March 12th. Photo of Cameron in a new outfit. Baby designer clothes with a little logo I recognized from the department store at the mall. My prince looking perfect. I kept scrolling, deeper, further back. February, January, December. Photo after photo of a life that didn't match the story Wendy told me. Restaurant meals, coffee from expensive coffee shops, new clothes with tags still visible in the mirror selfies, a massage appointment, a hair appointment. Those long braids I knew cost at least $200, sometimes $3. Cameron's toys, name brand everything. That bouncer seat that cost $150. I'd looked it up online after seeing it in the background of a photo. I sat there at 3 a.m., my tea getting cold, scrolling through 15 months of Wendy's life. And it didn't add up. It didn't add up at all. If they were struggling, if Randall's paycheck barely covered basics, where was this money coming from? The expensive shopping, the brunches, the nails, the designer baby clothes. Where? I thought about calling Diane. But Diane would say, "I told you so." Diane would say, "I warned you." And I couldn't hear that. Not yet. Not at 3 a.m. with my tea getting cold and my chest feeling tight. I was terrified, genuinely terrified, of what I might find if I kept digging. I needed proof. Real proof. Not just photos. Not just feelings. I needed someone who understood money, who could look at the numbers and tell me what was really happening. The next morning, Thursday, April 4th, I walked next door. My neighbor Sharon had a daughter, Melissa, 22 years old, studying accounting at the State University. I'd known her since she was a little girl running around the neighborhood on a pink bike with streamers. Sharon answered the door. "Julie, everything okay? Is Melissa home?" Melissa came downstairs in sweatpants and a university t-shirt. Still had that baby face even though she was 22. Bright eyes, smart. "Mrs. Watson?" she said. "What's up?" I explained. Not everything, but enough. My daughter-in-law needed help with money. I'd been sending her funds for over a year. But things weren't adding up. Would Melissa? Could she look into some things for me? Like what? Melissa asked. Bank accounts, income sources. I want to know if the money I'm sending is really needed. Or if... I stopped. Couldn't finish the sentence. Or if she's scamming you, Melissa said flatly. I don't want to think that, but you need to know. Melissa nodded. What information do you have? I showed her. Account number, routing number, Wendy's full name, social security number. I'd gotten it from Randall once for something insurance-related, written it in my address book. Melissa looked at the information. Mrs. Watson, I'd need to be really careful. There are legal issues with accessing someone else's financial information. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. I know, but... Okay, let me talk to my professor. He works with fraud investigation. He might know some legal ways to get information, public records, that kind of thing. How much would this cost? Mrs. Watson, you've known me my whole life. You used to give me Halloween candy and let me swim in your pool. I'm not charging you. Melissa, but if you insist, buy me dinner when this is done, somewhere nice. We negotiated. $750. She'd do it as a research project for her fraud investigation class. Her professor would supervise. Everything legal and above board. I wrote her a check right there in Sharon's kitchen. Account balance, $12,950. Give me 2 weeks, Melissa said. I'll find out what I can. 2 weeks. 14 days of wondering, of lying awake, of watching Wendy's online posts and feeling my stomach turn. 14 days of not knowing if I was paranoid or justified. But what Melissa found, what she showed me on May 18th, would prove I wasn't paranoid at all. I was just 14 months too late. May 18th, a Saturday. Sharon knocked on my door. Melissa wants to see you, she said. Her face looked worried. She's in our dining room. She asked me to get you. I walked next door, my heart hammering, my hands shaking. Melissa had papers spread across the dining room table. Charts, bank statements, screenshots. Sit down, Mrs. Watson, she said. I sat. This is bad, Melissa said. What she's doing to you, it's really bad. She showed me. Bank account in Wendy's name only. Not joint with Randall. Her name. Her social security number. Monthly deposits from an account registered to Barbara Mitchell. $1,000. Every month. For the past 3 years. Her mother's been giving her money, Melissa said. $1,000 a month. The whole time. But that wasn't all. Income reports from the IRS, public record filings Melissa accessed through her professor's fraud investigation tools. Wendy Mitchell, freelance graphic designer. Self-employed income, $22,000 in 2022. $24,000 in 2023. Estimated $27,000 for 2024, based on current quarterly reports. She's been working, Melissa said. The whole time, making about $1,800 to $2,200 a month. Freelance, from home. The papers blurred. The room tilted. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Literally couldn't get air into my lungs. I was devastated. Betrayed. Furious. All at once. How much total? I whispered. How much has she been getting? Including what I send? Melissa did the math on her calculator. You're $1,500. Her mother's $1,000. Her own income. Let's average it at $2,000. That's $4,500 a month. And Randall's salary? He was making $62,000 before he lost the job. That's about $5,200 a month after taxes. Now he's making $48,000. That's about $4,000 a month. So before Randall lost his job, they were making $9,700 a month, more than double what I made. After he lost his job, they were making $4,500 from Wendy's sources alone, more than I made. After he got the new job, they were making $8,500 a month. And rent? I asked. $2,300. I checked property records. That's accurate. So they were making $8,500, spending $2,300 on rent. That left $6,200 for everything else. Where's the money going? I asked. Melissa showed me another spreadsheet. Wendy's account transactions. She'd gotten these through creative means she didn't explain, and I didn't ask about. Savings account. Separate from checking. Automated transfer of $1,000 per month. In 15 months, Wendy had saved $15,000. My money. Barbara's money. Her own money. All going into savings while I sold my jewelry and ate rice and beans and stopped getting my hair done and drove a car with bad brakes. I wasn't looking at financial records. I was staring at a blueprint for my own destruction, drawn up 14 months ago and executed with surgical precision. What about the pregnancy complications? I asked. She said she couldn't work. She said she was on bed rest. Melissa pulled up medical records, public court filing from an insurance dispute, accessible through the university's legal research database. No bed rest orders, no complications, normal pregnancy, normal delivery. She lied, Melissa said, about everything. I sat there in Sharon's dining room with 43 pages of evidence in front of me. Evidence of hidden bank accounts, hidden income, hidden savings, evidence that Wendy never needed my help, that she'd been using me. That everything, the tears, the desperation, the just a few more months, all of it was lies, warning signs. I'd miss them again, just like with Richard. The expensive brunches while claiming poverty, the perfect nails, the designer baby clothes, all of it right in front of me. But I'd been too trusting, too willing to believe the best in people. Richard died because I didn't see the signs. I almost lost myself for the same reason. Never again. Mrs. Watson? Melissa's voice seemed far away. Are you okay? I wasn't okay. I was sitting in my neighbor's house learning that I'd been scammed by my own daughter-in-law, that I'd given $23,000 to a woman who was banking $1,000 a month, that I'd sold 30 years of marriage for $5,200 to fund someone else's savings account. I felt sick, betrayed, used, furious, heartbroken, all at once. I need copies, I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. All of this. I need copies. Already made them. Melissa handed me a folder. Everything's in here, organized by category. Bank statements, income reports, screenshots. I printed those too, by the way. The brunches and shopping bags, all of it. I took the folder, held it against my chest like a shield. Thank you, I whispered. Mrs. Watson, what are you going to do? I didn't answer, because I didn't know yet. All I knew was that the woman I'd been helping for 15 months, the woman I'd sacrificed for, worried about, depleted my savings for, she'd been playing me the whole time. And somewhere in my chest, underneath the hurt and the shock and the grief for my lost jewelry and my empty savings account, somewhere deep down, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Anger, clean, pure, righteous. And I was done being the fool. But that was May. The confrontation wouldn't come until September. Because between discovering the truth and exposing it, between realizing I'd been scammed and actually doing something about it, there were 4 more months of hell. 4 more months of watching Wendy take everything. Not just my money, not just my savings, but my house, my space, my identity, my memory of Richard, everything. She didn't move into my house. She occupied it. And I watched myself disappear from my own life, one removed photograph at a time. Let me take you back. Back to when Cameron was born. February. Almost a year into the transfers. Wendy went into labor on a Tuesday. Randall called me at 3 a.m. Mom, it's happening. We're heading to the hospital. I'm coming, I said, already getting dressed. Mom, wait. Wendy said to wait. She doesn't want a crowd. I'm not a crowd. I'm his grandmother. I know, but Her mother's already on the way, and Wendy said the room's small and she just wants it calm and... When can I come? After he's born. I'll call you. He called me 12 hours later. 3:14 p.m. He's here. Cameron Andrew Watson. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. I'm coming now. Mom, they're sleeping. Both of them. Can you wait until tomorrow? I waited. But what happened when I finally got to see my grandson? What I walked into that hospital room and realized. That's when the erasure really began. Showed up the next morning with flowers, carnations from the grocery store, the best they had, and a card I'd written at 5 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. The hospital room was full of balloons, professional arrangements. Huge ones that said, "It's a boy," in silver letters. They filled half the room. Barbara sat in the chair next to Wendy's bed, holding the baby, cooing at him. "Mrs. Watson," Wendy said. She looked tired but happy. "Perfect. Come see him." I walked over, looked at Cameron, his tiny face, his closed eyes, his miniature hands curled into fists. My grandson. "Want to hold him?" Wendy asked. "If that's okay." "Of course." Barbara stood up, handed him to me. "He's perfect," she said. "Absolutely perfect. Just like Wendy was." I held Cameron, felt his weight, smelled that newborn smell, powder and milk, and something indefinable. Something that makes your chest ache and your eyes water. I felt overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed, with love and hope and fear all at once. "Hi, baby," I whispered. "I'm your grandma." I stayed for 20 minutes. Then Barbara said something about Wendy needing rest, about how newborns are overwhelming, about how first-time mothers need quiet. "I'll come back tomorrow," I said. "Actually," Wendy said, "the doctor wants me to limit visitors. Infection risk. Can you wait until we're home?" I waited. They came home a week later, to their apartment, the one I'd been paying rent for, the one I'd never seen inside. I asked if I could visit. "Soon," Wendy said. "Once we're settled." I sent a gift, a bassinet I found on sale at the department store. $200 I couldn't really afford. Randall called to thank me, said it was perfect, said I'd be able to use it when I watched Cameron. "When can I watch him?" I asked. "Soon, Mom, real soon." But something happened between that conversation and soon. Something I didn't see coming. Something that would turn my house, my sanctuary, into occupied territory. June. 4 months after Cameron was born. Wendy called. "Mrs. Watson, I need to ask you something." "What?" Can we stay with you? Just for a little while?" I was washing dishes, my hands in soapy water. "Stay with me?" "Here's the thing. Randall's student loans are killing us. We're trying to save for a deposit on a bigger place. But with rent here, Mrs. Watson, if we could just stay with you for 2, maybe 3 months, we could save enough to get somewhere better. Somewhere with a yard for Cameron." I should have said no. I should have asked why they needed to save a deposit when they were banking $1,000 a month in secret. I should have asked why Randall's student loans were suddenly an emergency when they'd been paying them for years. I should have said a lot of things. But I didn't. Because I wanted to be near Cameron. I wanted to be the grandmother who got to see him every day, who got to watch him grow, who got to hold him and feed him and be part of his life. I was desperate for that connection. So desperate I ignored every warning sign. "Okay," I said. 2 months. They moved in the next weekend. Randall carried boxes. Wendy directed. Barbara helped. I watched them take over my house like water filling a sinking ship. Cameron's things went in Randall's old room, the one with the airplane wallpaper we'd put up when he was 6, the crib, the changing table, bags and bags of baby clothes and supplies. Randall and Wendy's things went in the guest room, the one with the yellow walls and the quilt my mother made before she died. "This is temporary," Wendy said. "I promise. 2 months tops." And 2 months turned into 3, then 4, then 5. And somewhere in those months, my house stopped being mine. It started small. The photographs. I had them everywhere. On the mantle in the living room. On the wall going up the stairs. On my dresser. In the hallway. Pictures of Richard and me. Our wedding. Us cutting the cake, black and white photo in a silver frame. Our anniversary dinner at that restaurant in Annapolis, the one that closed 10 years ago. Richard holding baby Randall. Richard in his work clothes, smiling at the camera. Richard and me on our last vacation. Myrtle Beach, 2 years before he died. One by one, they disappeared. Mrs. Watson, Wendy said one Thursday morning, I hope you don't mind. I moved some photos for the baby proofing. Cameron's crawling now, and I was worried he'd pull them down. Baby proofing. Made sense. I nodded. But they didn't get put back. They went in a box. In the closet. Out of sight. I'll put them back up soon, Wendy promised. Once Cameron's older. Then came the furniture. My couch, the floral one Richard and I picked out in 1994, the one we'd saved 3 months to afford, got replaced with a modern gray sectional. More practical with a baby, Wendy explained. My curtains, cream with blue flowers, the ones I'd hung 20 years ago, got taken down. These are so outdated. I got you blinds, clean lines, very modern. My kitchen towels, my throw pillows, my decorative plates Richard's mother gave us, all of it, gone, replaced. But what she did next? What she said in front of her friends? That's when I realized this wasn't about baby-proofing or modernizing. This was about erasing me entirely. I'm just updating things, Wendy said when I asked about the plates. Making the house more cohesive. You'll love it, I promise. But I didn't love it. I hated it. I hated coming home, to my own house, and not recognizing it. Hated looking for Richard's favorite coffee mug and finding it gone, replaced with white minimalist cups that all looked the same. Hated opening my linen closet and finding my towels, the yellow ones with the embroidered edges, replaced with gray and white sets from the department store. I felt invisible, erased, like a ghost in my own home. Where are my towels? I asked. I donated them, Wendy said. She was folding laundry at my kitchen table, the one with the cigarette burn. They were old, worn out. These new ones are better quality. They were mine. I know. And now you have new ones. You're welcome. The gatherings started in August. Wendy had friends, women her age. They'd come over, 3, 4, sometimes 5 of them, on Wednesday afternoons, bring their babies, drink iced coffee out of reusable cups with their names written on them in permanent marker. They'd sit in my living room, on the gray sectional I hated, under the modern art prints Wendy had hung where Richard's landscape paintings used to be. I'd be in the kitchen, making lunch, doing dishes, listening. This place is so cute, one friend said once. How'd you afford it? It's my mother-in-law's, Wendy replied. But we're helping her with it. She's older, can't manage alone. Can't manage alone. Like I was helpless. Like I needed them. Another time. Is that your mother-in-law? I'd walked through to get to the bathroom. Nodded hello. Kept walking. Yeah. She lives here. Not, this is her house. Not, we're staying with her. She lives here. Like I was the guest. The final straw came at Cameron's first birthday party. Wendy wanted something big. He'll only turn one once, Mrs. Watson. I thought we were having it here. Small. Family. I changed my mind. I want something special. I found a venue. That community center near the park. They have a room we can rent. 300 people capacity. 300? I'm not inviting 300, but I want the space, for decorations, for photos. Professional photos, Mrs. Watson. This matters. How much is the venue? 1,000. I thought about my savings account, about the remaining balance that used to be $38,000. Wendy, I don't know. Please, I'll never ask for anything else. I promise. This is Cameron's first birthday. Don't you want it to be special? So I sent the money. But then, 3 days before the party, Wendy changed the plan. And what she did with that $1,000, what she did with my backyard and my money and my grandson's birthday, that's when I knew. This wasn't just about convenience. This wasn't just about saving money. This was about control, about ownership, about making sure everyone knew whose vision mattered. And it wasn't mine. I decided to have it here instead. Your backyard's bigger than I remembered. And honestly, I can use that $1,000 you gave me for decorations and catering. Make it really special. My backyard, my $1,000, her party. I should have said no. Should have demanded the money back. Should have. But Cameron's first birthday. My grandson. The party happened on a Saturday, February. Perfect weather. 78 degrees and sunny. Wendy hired caterers, set up tents with professional balloon installations, a dessert table with a custom cake, a photo booth, a hired photographer walking around with a real camera. The backyard looked like a magazine spread. Barbara arrived first, in a white pantsuit and pearls. Oh, Wendy, you've outdone yourself. I stayed in the kitchen, making sure drinks were cold, cutting fruit nobody would eat, staying out of the way. The photographer took pictures. Hundreds of them. Cameron in his high chair, Cameron with Wendy, Cameron with Randall, Cameron with Barbara, Cameron with Wendy's friends. I went outside once. Tried to hold him. In a minute, Mrs. Watson, Wendy said. He's overstimulated. Let him calm down first. I waited. By the time I got to hold him, the photographer had packed up. Gone. Paid her $250, I heard Wendy thank her, and left. 2 weeks later, Wendy posted the photos online, 347 of them, in an album titled Cameron's First Birthday, A Celebration of Love. I clicked through them. Cameron, Wendy, Randall, Barbara, Wendy's friends. The decorations, the cake, the balloons, the backyard looking perfect and sun-drenched and magazine-worthy. I appeared in 3 photos. 3 out of 347. 1. Background. Out of focus. Carrying a tray of something. Half my face cut off by the edge of the frame. 2. Blurry. Turning away from the camera. Unrecognizable except for my floral dress. The one from a thrift store, $6, someone else's unwanted gift. 3. Behind Randall. My hands on his shoulders. Both of us smiling at the camera. Cameron in Randall's arms. A good photo. A real photo. Me, my son, my grandson, family. That photo didn't make it into the final online album. I saw it in the photographer's preview link, the one Wendy shared with her friends so they could order prints. But when Wendy curated the final album, the one she posted for everyone to see, that photo was gone. Deleted. Like I was never there. 3 photos out of 347. That's what my love was worth to them. I'd been deleted from my grandson's memory before he was old enough to remember me. I felt invisible, erased, worthless, like I didn't matter at all. September ended. October came. Wendy started talking about redecorating my bedroom. It's so dark in there, Mrs. Watson. Let me help you brighten it up. That's when I knew. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't just about saving money for 2 or 3 months. This wasn't about helping family. This was about taking over. Taking everything. My house. My space. My identity. My memories. Wendy was erasing me. 1 photo at a time. 1 piece of furniture at a time. 1 room at a time. Until there'd be nothing left of Julie Watson, nothing left of Richard and me and the life we built, just Wendy's aesthetic, Wendy's modern gray sectional, Wendy's white minimalist coffee mugs, Wendy's version of my house. And I was supposed to smile, be grateful, be the helpful mother-in-law who couldn't manage alone, who needed them, who should thank them for updating her outdated house and erasing her outdated life. But I had Melissa's folder. 43 pages of evidence. Proof of lies. Proof of hidden money. Proof that I'd been funding Wendy's savings account while she systematically deleted me from existence. And I was done. Done being quiet. Done being grateful. Done being the fool who sold her jewelry and disappeared from her own life just to keep a liar comfortable. I didn't know exactly how I'd do it yet. Didn't know what I'd say or when I'd say it. But I knew one thing. The next time Wendy insulted me, the next time she implied I was outdated, useless, in the way, I wasn't going to smile and take it. I was going to burn her whole world down, and I'd do it with receipts. October came, cool air, leaves turning, the kind of weather Richard used to love, not too hot, not too cold. Perfect for working outside. I'd been sitting on Melissa's folder for 5 months now. 43 pages. Evidence. Proof. Every lie documented. But I wasn't ready yet. Because I needed to understand something. Something I couldn't figure out from bank statements and screenshots. Where did Wendy learn this? How did she become someone who could smile at me while robbing me blind? Who taught her that kindness meant weakness? That family meant free money? I got my answer on October 12th, Barbara's birthday. Wendy decided to host dinner at my house, my dining room, my table with the cigarette burn, for Barbara's 57th birthday. I'm making her favorite, Wendy told me. Salmon, roasted vegetables, that lemon cake from the bakery she likes. The one that costs $45? I asked. It's her birthday, Mrs. Watson. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. Coming from the woman who'd taken $23,000 from me, who was living in my house rent-free while banking $1,000 a month. I didn't say anything, just nodded, smiled, played my role. But what Barbara said that night, what she revealed about her philosophy, her teachings, her values, that's when everything clicked into place. Barbara arrived at 6 p.m., drove up in her luxury vehicle. Black SUV with leather seats and that new car smell still lingering after 3 years. She'd told me once what she paid for it. $68,000. More than Richard made in a year when we were young. She walked in like she owned the place. White silk blouse. Black pants that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Heels that clicked on my hardwood floors. The floors Richard and I had refinished ourselves in 1998. On our knees with sanders and stain and determination. Mrs. Watson, she said. Kissed my cheek. The kind of kiss that doesn't touch skin. Just air. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for hosting. In my own house. Dinner was served at 6:30. The table set with my good dishes, the ones I'd inherited from Richard's mother. White with gold trim. Service for 12. We'd used them for every holiday. Every special occasion. They were some of the last things Wendy hadn't replaced yet. Barbara sat at the head of the table, where Richard used to sit, where Randall sits now. I sat at the other end, the foot, like a guest. Randall sat to Barbara's right, Wendy to her left, Cameron in his high chair between them, smearing sweet potato on his face. The salmon was perfect. I could smell it. Lemon and butter and dill. Could see the crispy skin. Could hear Barbara's little hum of approval when she took the first bite. Delicious, Wendy, Barbara said. You've really mastered this recipe. Thanks, Mom. I learned from the best. They talked about Barbara's birthday plans. A spa day next weekend. 4 hours, full package, massage, facial, the works, $800. Treat yourself, Wendy said. You deserve it. Oh, I always do. Barbara smiled. That's the secret, you know. Never wait for someone else to give you what you want. Take it yourself. I cut my salmon. Chewed. Swallowed. That's what I've always taught Wendy. Barbara continued. She looked at me now. Really looked. Smart women don't spend their own money if they can help it. They build wealth. Let other people fund their lifestyle. Nobody spoke. Just the sound of forks on plates. Cameron babbling. That's That's interesting, I said. My voice steady even though my chest was tightening. I felt sick, physically sick, hearing her say it out loud like it was wisdom instead of manipulation. It's not interesting, it's survival. Barbara took a sip of wine. The bottle Wendy had bought with my credit card. $28. When Wendy's father left, I had nothing. Nothing. Do you know what I did? I didn't answer. I learned. I learned that crying doesn't pay rent, that pride doesn't build wealth, that the women who succeed are the ones who make smart decisions, strategic decisions. Like what? I asked. Barbara smiled. Like dating men with good jobs, like accepting help from family and not feeling guilty about it. Like understanding that if someone offers you money, you take it. You don't refuse out of some misguided sense of independence. I finally understood. Wendy didn't invent this game. She inherited it, complete with instruction manual, and her mother's blessing to bleed me dry. Is that what you taught Wendy? I asked. To take money from family? I taught her to be smart, to build savings, to never be in the position I was in, broke and desperate and dependent on a man who could walk away. But accepting money from family, that's being dependent too. No. Barbara's eyes hardened. That's being strategic. There's a difference. Randall shifted in his seat. Uncomfortable. Can we talk about something else? Of course, Barbara said smoothly. The dinner continued. Dessert, the $45 lemon cake, coffee, conversation about Barbara's rental properties, her investments, her financial advisor. I cleared the plates, loaded the dishwasher, listened to Barbara's voice carrying from the dining room. You have to think long-term, Wendy, always. Don't get comfortable just because things are easy now. Keep building, keep saving, keep looking for opportunities. Opportunities, like a mother-in-law with a savings account. Barbara left at 9 p.m. After she was gone, Wendy started cleaning up. I helped. We worked in silence, her washing, me drying. Your mother has some interesting ideas, I said finally. She's smart. She's been through a lot. I'm sure. But, Wendy, do you really believe that? About taking money from family? About it being strategic instead of what? Instead of taking advantage. Wendy stopped washing, turned to look at me. If someone offers help, you accept it. That's not taking advantage. That's accepting a gift. What if they offer because they're guilted into it, or lied to? What are you saying? I looked at her perfect face, her perfect hair, her perfect smile that didn't reach her eyes. Nothing, I said. Forget it. But I couldn't forget it, because now I understood. Barbara had taught Wendy that kindness was weakness, that generosity was opportunity, that family wasn't about love, it was about leverage. And Wendy had learned the lesson perfectly. I went to my room that night, pulled out Melissa's folder. 43 pages. Evidence. And I started planning. Not the confrontation yet. That was still coming, still weeks away. But the planning, the strategy, the careful documentation of every lie, every manipulation, every dollar. If Barbara had taught Wendy to be strategic, well, fine. I could be strategic too. And unlike Wendy, when I played the game, I'd play to win. October 8th. A Tuesday. Cool morning. The kind where you need a sweater but not a jacket. I was looking for my winter scarf. The burgundy one with the tassels. Richard gave it to me maybe 10 years ago. Said it brought out the color in my eyes. I checked my closet. Not there. Checked the hall closet. Not there either. Must be in the spare room. The one that used to be my sewing room before Wendy and Randall took it over. I knocked. Nobody home. Wendy had taken Cameron to her mother's, Randall at work. House empty except for me. I went in. I checked the closet. Found some of my winter things pushed to the back. Coats I'd been looking for. Scarves. Gloves. And then I saw my jewelry box. The wooden one. Mahogany with velvet lining. The one Richard gave me for our 20th anniversary. The one that used to sit on my dresser before Wendy organized everything. It was on the top shelf, pushed back, behind a box of Wendy's shoes. I pulled it down. Dust on the lid, like it hadn't been touched in months. I opened it. Empty. Well, mostly empty. Some old watch batteries. A broken necklace chain I'd meant to get fixed. Single earring with no match. But Richard's watch. The one piece I hadn't pawned. The silver pocket watch with his initials engraved on the back. RJW. Richard James Watson. The watch his father gave him when he graduated high school. The one Richard wore to our wedding. The one he carried every day for 40 years in his work pants pocket. The one that survived construction sites, and hard labor and time. The one I'd kept after he died. Held on to. Couldn't bring myself to pawn with the rest. The one I'd given to Wendy. Given her. To keep safe for Cameron. For when he's older, I'd said. So he'll have something of his grandfather's. Gone. My heart stopped. Literally felt like it stopped. My chest seized. My hands started shaking. I couldn't breathe. I was devastated. Absolutely devastated. That the last piece of Richard, the last physical connection I had, was gone. I looked through the box again. Maybe I'd missed it. Maybe it was underneath something. Maybe... not there. I checked the drawer. Wendy's jewelry drawer. Necklaces and bracelets and earrings all tangled together. No watch. Checked the closet. Checked under the bed. Checked everywhere. Nothing. I sat on the edge of their bed. The one in my spare room. In my house. That used to be my sewing room. The watch was gone. Wendy came home at 3 p.m. I heard the door, Cameron's babbling, her voice, cheerful, light. "Mrs. Watson? You home?" I came out of my room, walked to the living room where she was settling Cameron in his playpen. "Where's the watch?" I asked. "What watch?" "Richard's watch. The pocket watch. I gave it to you to keep for Cameron." Her face changed, just slightly. A flicker. A tell. "Oh," she said. "That. Where is it?" The room went still. Cameron banged a toy against the playpen, laughing. "Mrs. Watson, where is my husband's watch?" Mrs. Watson, I needed cash." The room tilted. "What?" "I pawned it. 4 months ago. I'm sorry. I was going to tell you, but you pawned it. I was going to get it back. I just needed... How much?" "What? How much did they give you for my husband's watch?" She looked at the floor. $450. $450. For Richard's watch. For 40 years of him carrying it. For his father's gift. For the only physical piece of him I had left besides photos and memories. $450. She didn't just pawn a watch. She sold the last physical piece of the man I loved for the price of a dress she'd wear once. And that's when I stopped being sorry and started being strategic. I felt rage. Pure, clean rage. The kind that makes everything crystal clear. "When did you pawn it?" My voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from somewhere else. June 15th. "What's the redemption period?" 90 days. So September 15th. "Yeah. Today is October 8th. I know. I'm sorry. I was going to get it before the deadline, but... But what? But I didn't have the money. Didn't have the money. The woman banking $1,000 a month, making $2,000 from freelance work, receiving $1,000 from her mother, getting $1,500 from me, $5,500 a month in her accounts alone, not counting Randall's $4,000, didn't have the money. "Which pawn shop?" I asked. "What? Which pawn shop?" "Mrs. Watson, it's gone. They would have sold it by now. It's been 3 weeks past redemption." Which pawn shop, Wendy? The one on Branch Avenue, near the jewelry buyer. The place with the... I walked away, went to my room, closed the door, sat on my bed. The one I'd slept in alone for 4 years. The one where Richard's side stayed empty. I looked at his photo on my dresser. The one Wendy hadn't moved yet. Richard at 45, smiling, hands in his pockets. I'd given away his watch, trusted Wendy to keep it safe, for Cameron, for the future, for the legacy, and she'd pawned it, for $450. Let the 90 days expire. Let the shop sell it to someone else. 40 years of Richard carrying that watch. Gone. For $450. I didn't cry. Couldn't cry. Was beyond crying. I just sat there, on my bed, in my room, in my house that didn't feel like mine anymore. And I decided, right then, October 8th, 3:47 p.m., I was done. Done waiting, done planning, done documenting. I had enough evidence. 43 pages plus 3 more months of bank statements, plus the birthday party photos, plus this, the watch, the final betrayal. It was time. Time to stop being the fool. Time to stop being the victim. Time to stop being the silent, generous grandmother who let herself be used and erased and robbed. Time to burn it all down. I called Diane, my sister, the lawyer, the one who'd been telling me for months something was wrong. "Jules," she answered. "I need you to come over," I said. "Tomorrow. Bring your legal paperwork, the stuff for contracts." "Why?" "Because I'm done, and I need your help." "Done with what?" "Done being nice." The clock ticked. That was all. Then, finally, she came the next day, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m., Randall at work, Wendy taking Cameron to some playgroup thing. Diane sat at my kitchen table, the one with the cigarette burn, the one where everything important happened. I gave her the folder. Melissa's investigation. 43 pages. She read it. All of it. Her face getting harder with each page. "How much total?" she asked when she finished. $23,000, plus the watch. "The watch?" I told her. About the pocket watch. About Wendy pawning it. About it being gone forever. Diane's jaw clenched. "When are you telling Randall?" "Soon. But first I need a promissory note. Legal, enforceable, for the full amount." "You want her to pay it back?" "Every penny." Diane pulled out her laptop. "Give me 30 minutes. She drafted it right there, at my table. Legal language I didn't fully understand but trusted Diane knew. Promissory note. Wendy Mitchell agrees to repay Julie Watson the sum of $23,000. Plus interest. 6% annual. Payment plan to be determined. Signed and dated. Legally binding. When she signs this, Diane said, you can take her to court if she doesn't pay. Good. What about Randall? What about him? He's your son. This is going to hurt him. I know. But he needs to know. He needs to see who he married. Diane nodded. When? Dinner. This Saturday. I'll make pot roast. Tell them it's family dinner. You'll be here. As a witness. A witness to what? To me getting my voice back. We planned it. Carefully. Strategically. Every word. Every document. Every moment. I'd make dinner. Normal dinner. Pot roast and mashed potatoes and cornbread. Richard's favorites. Our family meal. We'd sit at the table. Me, Randall, Wendy, Diane, Cameron in his high chair. And then, when everyone was comfortable, when Wendy thought she was safe, I'd tell the truth. All of it. Every transfer. Every lie. Every dollar. And I'd present the evidence. The folder. The bank statements. The proof. And she'd sign the promissory note. Right there, at my table, in front of witnesses. Or she could leave. Leave my house, move out. Today, right now. And I'd see her in court. Her choice. Diane left at noon. Saturday, she said. I'll be here at 5:30. Thank you. Jules, you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The next 3 days were surreal, acting normal, pretending everything was fine, making small talk with Wendy, playing with Cameron, smiling. While inside I was counting down. 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. I felt powerful, calm, ready. Saturday morning I woke up at 6 a.m., couldn't sleep, too much energy, too much anger finally getting permission to exist. I started cooking at 2 p.m., pot roast, the way Richard liked it. Carrots and potatoes and onions, slow cooked until the meat fell apart. Mashed potatoes with real butter and cream. Cornbread with honey butter. The house smelled like Sundays, like family dinners, like the life Richard and I had before he died. Diane arrived at 5:30. I let her in the back door. She had a briefcase, professional, lawyer mode. "Ready?" she asked. "Ready." Dinner was served at 6 p.m. Everyone at the table. Randall at the head, where Richard used to sit. Wendy next to him. Cameron in his high chair. Me at the foot. Diane to my right. Wendy looked surprised when Diane walked in. "I didn't know you were coming." "Last-minute invitation," Diane said smoothly. Julie and I had some things to discuss. We ate, made small talk. Randall talked about work. Wendy talked about Cameron's latest developments, crawling, babbling, trying to stand. Normal, easy, comfortable. And then Wendy said it. The line that would change everything. "You know, Mrs. Watson," she said, cutting her pot roast, not even looking at me. "You're not half the woman my mother is." Nobody spoke. I set down my fork, slowly, carefully, and I smiled. "Perfect," I said, my voice calm, so calm. "Then let her start paying your rent." I felt powerful saying it, calm and powerful and done being quiet. The fork stopped halfway to Wendy's mouth, froze, like time stopped. Randall's head snapped toward me. "What?" I kept my eyes on Wendy, watched her face go through stages, confusion, recognition, fear. I said, and my voice stayed steady, stayed calm. "Let your mother pay your rent. Since she's such an incredible woman, since she's taught you so much about being smart with money." "Mrs. Watson?" Wendy started. 14 months, Wendy. $1,500 a month. That's $21,000. Randall put down his fork. "Mom, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the money. The rent money. The money your wife told you was coming from her mother. The money that's actually been coming from me. For 14 months. That's not..." Wendy looked at Randall. "She's confused. I never..." October 18th, 2023. First transfer. $1,500 from my savings account to your wife's checking account. Account ending in 7834. I pulled out my phone. Showed Randall the banking app. The transfer history. Every 5th of the month. $1,500. October, November, December. On and on. Plus 1,000 extra for the hospital when Cameron was born. Plus another 1,000 for his birthday party. That's $23,000. Even Cameron stopped babbling. Randall stared at the phone, at the numbers, at the dates. "Wendy, is this true?" "I can explain. Is it true?" Wendy's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time, or maybe not real. I couldn't tell anymore. I didn't care anymore. "Yes." Randall stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. "You've been taking money from my mother?" She offered, for 14 months, $23,000. "We needed help. I got a job. A year ago. We didn't need..." He stopped, ran his hand over his face. Did I know? Did I know any of this? "No," I said. "She made me promise not to tell you. Said your pride couldn't handle accepting money from me. Said I had to pretend it was coming from her mother. I spent 14 months being the fool who gave everything. It took me one dinner to become the woman who takes her life back, with receipts." Randall turned to Wendy. "You made my mother lie to me?" "I didn't make her..." You took $23,000 from her and made her lie to her own son about it? Diane cleared her throat. There's more. She opened her briefcase, pulled out Melissa's folder, set it on the table. What is that? Wendy whispered. Investigation report, Diane said. Financial analysis completed by a forensic accounting student. 43 pages documenting your hidden bank accounts, your freelance income, and the monthly deposits from your mother. Would you like to see it? She pushed the folder toward Wendy. Wendy didn't touch it, just stared at it like it was a bomb. Your mother's been giving you $1,000 a month, I said. For 3 years. Not just since you needed help. For 3 years. That's different. And you've been working. Freelance graphic design. Making $1,800 to $2,200 a month. Working from home. While telling me you couldn't work. While telling me you needed my help. Randall sat back down. Hard. Like his legs gave out. You've been working? Part-time. Just small projects. How much? Wendy didn't answer. How much, Wendy? About $2,000 a month. So between my mom's money, your mom's money, and your own money, you've been getting $4,500 a month. While I thought we were struggling. While I thought we could barely afford rent. It wasn't like that. What was it like? His voice cracked. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been lying to both of us. Using my mother. Using me. For what? For your savings account? Wendy's face fell. How did you... Diane pulled out another page. Bank statement. You've been transferring $1,000 a month into savings. For 15 months. That's $15,000. Money that could have been used to pay your rent. To not need help. To not bleed your mother-in-law dry. I was building security. With my money, I said. My voice still calm. Still steady. But I could feel the anger underneath. Clean and sharp. I was furious. Righteously furious. At the audacity of it all. You were building security with my money. While I sold my jewelry. While I depleted my savings. While I drove a car with bad brakes because I couldn't afford to fix them. Nothing. Just breathing. Cameron threw his spoon. It clattered on the floor. And that's not even the worst part, I said. Wendy looked up. What? Richard's watch. The pocket watch. The one I gave you to keep for Cameron. The one you pawned for $450 and let the redemption period expire. That watch is gone. Sold. Because you needed cash in June while you were banking $1,000 a month. Randall stood up again. You pawned Dad's watch? I was going to get it back. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks past redemption. It's gone, Wendy. Gone. Do you understand that? I'm sorry. Sorry? Randall's voice rose. Loud. Angry. I'd never heard him like this. You pawned my father's watch? The only physical thing we had left of him? For $450? I needed... What? What did you need? What was so important that you had to pawn my father's watch while taking $1,500 a month from his widow? Wendy started crying. Real tears now, sobbing. I thought I could fix it. Fix it? How do you fix this? He gestured at the table. At the folder. At me. How do you fix taking $23,000 from my mother? How do you fix lying for 14 months? How do you fix pawning a family heirloom? Diane pulled out the promissory note. Set it on the table. This is how. Wendy looked at it. What is that? Promissory note. Legal document. You sign it, you agree to pay back $23,000. Plus 6% interest. Payment plan to be determined based on your actual income. Which we now know you have. I can't. Yes, you can. You're making about $4,500 a month. Even without Mrs. Watson's money. You can afford payments. What if I don't sign? Then you leave, I said. Tonight, you pack your things, you and Randall move out, and I'll see you in court. I'll sue for the full amount, plus legal fees, plus damages, and I'll win. Because we have documentation, bank statements, witness testimony, everything. Wendy looked at Randall. You're going to let her do this? Let her? Randall's voice was ice. She should do this. You stole from my mother. You lied to me. You pawned my father's watch. What do you expect me to do? Defend you? I'm your wife. And she's my mother. The woman who raised me, who loved me, who would have done anything for me. And you used that. You used her love, her generosity. You bled her dry while saving your own money, while taking money from your mother, while working and lying about it. He sat down, put his head in his hands. I can't even look at you right now. Diane pushed the promissory note closer to Wendy. You have two choices. Sign this and make it right, or leave tonight and deal with this in court. Your choice. Wendy picked up the paper. Read it, her hands shaking. $23,000. Plus interest. I don't have that much. You'll make payments, monthly, based on your income. It'll take time, but you'll pay every penny. And if I sign this, then what? Then you start making payments, Diane said. And you move out. You and Randall find your own place. You stop living in Mrs. Watson's house. You stop taking advantage of her generosity. You rebuild your life honestly, with your own money. Randall? Wendy looked at him. Desperate. Please. He didn't look up. Sign it. What? Sign the paper. Pay my mother back. It's the least you can do. But sign it, Wendy, or we're done. I mean it. You sign that paper and commit to making this right, or I'm taking Cameron and leaving. Tonight. I'll stay at my mom's until we figure this out, but I won't stay with someone who'd do this to my family. Wendy looked around the table. At me. At Diane. At Randall with his head in his hands. At Cameron eating sweet potato with his fingers. She picked up the pen. Signed her name. Wendy Mitchell. October 19th, 2024. Diane took the paper. Made a copy with her phone. Sent it to her email. This is legally binding. You default on payments. We take you to court. Understood? Wendy nodded. Out loud, please. Understood. Good. Diane packed up her briefcase. I'll draw up a payment plan based on your income. You'll start next month. We'll be in touch. She stood up, hugged me. Proud of you, Jules. After Diane left, the four of us sat there. Cameron still eating. Oblivious. Happy. I want you out by the end of the month, I said. My voice quiet but firm. Find an apartment. Move in with Barbara if you need to. But you're not staying here. This is my house. My space. You've taken enough. Randall nodded. We'll be gone this week. Randall, Wendy started. No, Mom's right. We need to leave. I need to figure this out. He looked at me, his eyes red, tired, devastated. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I know, baby. I know. If I'd known, it's not your fault. I married her. I brought her into your life, into our family. Stop. I reached across the table, took his hand. You didn't do this. She did. You're a good man, a good son. This isn't on you. I looked at him. My son, 39 years old, tired, trying so hard to make things right. I felt proud of him. The kind of pride that aches because it's mixed with sadness for what he's been through. He squeezed my hand. I love you, Mom. I love you too. We cleaned up in silence. Wendy took Cameron upstairs, put him to bed. Didn't come back down. Randall helped me wash dishes, like old times, like when he was young and we'd clean up after Sunday dinners together. What happens now? He asked. Now you move out. You and Wendy figure out your marriage. She pays me back, and we rebuild, with honesty this time, with respect. Can we? Rebuild? I don't know. We'll see. But Randall, I need you to understand something. I didn't do this to punish you. I did this because I had to. Because I was disappearing. From my own life, from my own house. And I couldn't let that keep happening. I understand. Do you? Yeah, Mom, I do. They moved out 3 days later, Wednesday, packed their things, loaded them into a truck Randall rented, drove them to Barbara's house in Bethesda. Temporary, Randall said, just until they found a place. Wendy didn't say goodbye, just loaded boxes, avoided eye contact, took Cameron and left. I stood in the doorway, watched them go, watched the truck pull away, and then I closed the door. My house, my space, mine again. I walked through the rooms, looked at the empty spaces where their things had been. The guest room, Randall's old room, the living room with the gray sectional still there but feeling different now. Lighter. I'd won. I'd stood up, spoken up, demanded respect, demanded repayment, demanded my life back, and I'd gotten it. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's remembering everything and choosing not to let it destroy you. But make no mistake, I remember every single lie. But the work wasn't done. Not yet. The promissory note was signed. But that didn't mean the money would come. Didn't mean Wendy would follow through. It just meant I'd taken the first step. But that night, Wednesday, October 16th, 3 days after the confrontation, I slept in my house alone for the first time in 4 months. And I slept well. They say healing isn't linear, that recovery takes time. That rebuilding trust is harder than building it in the first place. They're right. November 5th, first payment due date. Diane had drawn up the plan. $600 a month, based on Wendy's freelance income averaging $2,000 monthly. 38 months to pay off $23,000 plus interest. 3 years and 2 months. My phone dinged at 9:47 a.m. Bank notification. Deposit. $600. She'd paid. I sat there at my kitchen table, the one with the cigarette burn, and stared at the notification. $600. Out of $23,000. It was a start. December 5th. Second payment. $600. On time. January 5th. Third payment. This time $700. Extra $100 with a note. Bonus project came through, putting it toward the debt. By March, Randall had called me every Sunday. We'd talk about his week, about Cameron, about work, but never about Wendy. Not directly, just around her. We're doing okay, he'd say, taking it day by day. They'd moved out of Barbara's house in January, found an apartment in Hyattsville, 2-bedroom, closer to Randall's work. $1,500 a month rent, the amount Wendy had been pretending to pay while living in my house. We're paying it ourselves, Randall told me. Her freelance income covers rent. My salary covers everything else. No more help from family. We're doing this on our own. I was proud of him. Told him so. April brought something unexpected. Randall called on a Tuesday. Mom, can I come by? I need to show you something. He arrived that evening, 6 p.m. Just him. No Wendy, no Cameron. We sat in my living room, the gray sectional I still hadn't replaced. Would eventually. When I had the energy to care about furniture again. I've been looking, he said. Looking for what? The watch. Dad's watch. I've been calling pawn shops, antique dealers, estate sale companies. Anyone who might have bought it from that shop on Branch Avenue. My chest tightened. Randall, I know it's probably gone, melted down or sold out of state or whatever. But I had to try. I had to at least try. Baby, you don't have to. I do. It's Dad's watch. It's... His voice cracked. It's the only thing we had left. And Wendy. And I didn't. I should have protected it better. Should have known it was missing. Should have... Stop. This isn't your fault. Feels like it is. We sat in silence. The clock ticked. The refrigerator hummed. Same sounds. Same house. But different now. Quieter. Emptier. Mine again. Did you find anything? I asked finally. Maybe. He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. Estate sale listing. Richmond, Virginia. This company buys from pawn shops, liquidates inventory. I called them, described the watch. Silver, pocket watch, engraved initials, RJW. And? They have one that matches. They're not sure if it's the same one, but... Mom, it sounds right. They said I can come look at it. Verify the engravings. If it's Dad's, they'll sell it to me. How much? $1,100. $1,100. More than double what Wendy got for it. That's how pawn shops work. Buy low, sell high, profit off desperation. Randall, that's a lot of money. I've been working overtime, extra shifts. I have it saved. You don't have to. Yes, I do. This is family. This is Dad. This is fixing what Wendy broke. Let me do this, please. I looked at him. My son, 39 years old, tired, trying so hard to make things right, determined, loving. Okay, I said. Go get it. He drove to Richmond the next Saturday, called me from the road. I'm here, at the estate sale place, going in now. Call me after. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Mom. His voice shaking. It's Dad's watch. I'm holding it. The initials are here. RJW. This is it. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. I felt overwhelmed. Completely overwhelmed. With relief and gratitude and grief all mixed together. I'm buying it, he said. I'm bringing Dad home. He arrived at my house 3 hours later. Walked in with a small velvet box. The kind jewelry comes in. Opened it. Showed me. Richard's watch. Silver. Tarnished a little, but still beautiful. The engraving still clear. RJW. Still ticking. Still working after all this time. I took it. Held it. Felt the weight. Felt Richard somehow in the metal. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you, baby. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I didn't know it was gone. I'm sorry, Wendy. Stop apologizing. You found it. You brought it back. That's what matters. I put the watch in my jewelry box. The mahogany one. The one that had been empty for so long. Not empty anymore. By June, payments were still coming. Every month. On time or early. Sometimes $600. Sometimes 7 or 8 when Wendy landed bigger projects. I kept a spreadsheet. Tracked every payment. Running total. Amount remaining. 8 months. $5,400 paid. $17,600 to go. In July, Randall asked if Cameron could visit. Just for the afternoon. I'll stay too. We won't overstay. Mom, he's starting to forget you. And I don't want that. Bring him over. They came on a Saturday. Randall, Cameron, and, surprisingly, Wendy. She stood on my porch, looking smaller somehow, thinner, tired. Can I come in? She asked. It's not your house, I said. Not mean, just fact. I know, I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not just say sorry, but actually talk about what I did. I looked at Randall. He nodded. She's been trying, Mom. Really trying. Therapy, financial counseling, cutting ties with her mother's influence. It's been hard, but she's changing. I let them in. We sat in the living room. Cameron played on the floor, stacking blocks, knocking them down, laughing. I'm sorry, Wendy said, for everything, for using you, for lying, for taking advantage of your kindness, for the watch, for all of it. I was wrong, so wrong, and I'm working on being better. Why? I asked. Why did you do it? You didn't need the money. You had income. Your mother had money. Why take mine? She looked at her hands. Because my mother taught me that's what you do. That's how you survive. You take what's offered. You build wealth. You never turn down help even if you don't need it. And I didn't question it. Didn't think about how it affected you, I just did what she taught me. And now I see it differently. Now I see what I did, how I hurt you, how I almost destroyed my marriage, how I taught my son, without meaning to, that using people is okay. And I don't want that. I don't want Cameron growing up like I did, learning to manipulate instead of work, to take instead of earn. She looked up, met my eyes. I'm paying you back, every penny, and I'm changing. I cut off my mother's monthly deposits. I'm working more, building a real client base, supporting my family honestly, and I'm in therapy, learning where these patterns came from, learning how to be better. I didn't say anything, just listened. I don't expect forgiveness, she continued. Not yet, maybe not ever, but I want you to know I'm trying. And I'm sorry, genuinely sorry, for all of it. Okay, I said. Okay? Okay, I hear you. I see you trying. That's something. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was acknowledgement. It was witnessing change. It was possibility. They stayed for 2 hours. Cameron played. We talked, carefully, like walking on ice. But we talked. About Cameron's milestones. About Randall's promotion at work. About Wendy's biggest freelance client yet. About life moving forward. When they left, Wendy hugged me. Thank you for today. Thank you for showing up. The months continued. Payments kept coming. August, September, October. 1 year since the confrontation. 12 payments. $8,400 paid. $14,600 to go. And then, November, something shifted. Wendy got a big contract. Ongoing work with a marketing firm. Steady income. $3,000 a month. She paid $2,000 that month. Double payment. To speed things up, the note said. December. Another $2,000. January, $1,500. Had medical expenses but wanted to keep paying. By March, 18 months after the confrontation, she'd paid $14,000. More than half, $9,000 to go. And Cameron's second birthday was coming up. February 14th. Randall called. Mom, Wendy wants to do something different this year. Something smaller, just family, at our apartment. She wants to invite you. As Cameron's grandmother. Not like last time. But really, as family. Will Barbara be there? No, Wendy's not inviting her. They're still working through things, through boundaries. It'll be just us, you, me, Wendy, Cameron, maybe Diane if she wants to come. I'll be there. The party was small. Their apartment. Their living room decorated with simple balloons from the party store. Cake from the grocery store bakery. $15. Pizza from the place down the street. 7 people total. Me, Randall, Wendy, Cameron, Diane. 2 of Randall's friends from work. Wendy had a camera, just her phone. But she took photos. Lots of them. Cameron with his cake. Cameron with Randall. Cameron with me, really with me, holding him, both of us smiling. Cameron opening presents. Cameron playing. Cameron's whole day documented honestly. No professional photographer. No $3,000 production. Just family. Real family. She posted the album the next week. Cameron's second birthday, family love. 120 photos. I appeared in 53 of them. 53 photos of me holding my grandson, playing with him, celebrating his life, being present, being visible, being remembered, not erased, not deleted, not background noise, present, real, his grandmother. I felt seen, valued, like I mattered again. Here's a tightened ending. By July, 21 months after the confrontation, Wendy made the final payment. $1,673. The remainder, plus interest, $23,000, paid in full. Diane drew up the satisfaction of debt paperwork. Legal release, obligation fulfilled. You're free. Diane told Wendy on the phone. "The debt is paid. You've fulfilled your legal obligation." "Thank you," Wendy said. "And thank Diane. And tell Mrs. Watson. Tell her thank you for giving me the chance to make it right." I hung up the phone, looked at my savings account. $23,000. Not exactly where I started. Inflation, lost interest, all of that. But whole again. Restored. I couldn't buy back the time. Couldn't undo the pain. Couldn't recover the jewelry that had been melted down. But I had this. $23,000 paid back. A daughter-in-law who'd changed. A son who'd grown stronger. A grandson who knew my face. And I had my voice, my dignity, my space, my life, reclaimed, rebuilt, mine again. 2 years later. October 2026. Cool morning. The kind Richard used to love. I'm in my kitchen, the one with the table that has the cigarette burn, making coffee. The smell filling the room. My house looks like mine again. The gray sectional is gone, replaced with a floral couch I found at a local furniture store. Cream with blue flowers. Richard's photos are back on the walls. Our wedding. Our anniversaries. His work photos. All of it restored. My memories visible again. My jewelry box sits on my dresser. The mahogany one with the velvet lining. Inside, Richard's watch, still ticking, still keeping time. I pick it up sometimes. Hold it. Feel the weight. Feel Richard somehow present. Cameron will get this watch. When he's older. When he's 18, maybe. Old enough to understand what it means. What it survived. And I'll tell him the story. Not to make him hate his mother. Not to poison him against her. But to teach him something important. About resilience. About standing up. About demanding respect even when it's hard. About love that requires boundaries. About forgiveness that doesn't mean forgetting. I'll tell him that his grandmother sold her jewelry to help his family. That his mother made mistakes. That his father chose truth over comfort. That everyone learned something hard about what family really means. And I'll tell him what I learned. That kindness without boundaries becomes self-destruction. That generosity without limits becomes exploitation. That love without dignity isn't love at all. It's surrender. Randall visits every other Sunday now. Regular schedule, boundaries, respect. He brings Cameron. Sometimes Wendy comes too. Sometimes she doesn't. We're still working on it. Still rebuilding. But it's honest now. Real. No secrets. No hidden money. No lies. Wendy still works. Still building her freelance business. Making good money. Supporting her family. She and Randall are saving for a house. Doing it themselves. No help from family. Just their own effort. Diane comes over every Friday. We have lunch. We talk about everything. Family. Life. The law cases she's working on. She's proud of me. Tells me so. You taught a whole generation something important, Jules. About standing up. About not being quiet just to keep peace. That matters. I'm 68 now. 2 years past the confrontation. 4 years past where this story started. My savings account is healthy. Not rich, but comfortable. Richard's emergency fund restored and growing again. My car has new brakes. Finally. I can turn left without fear. My house is mine. Fully. Completely. No one else's vision. No one else's aesthetic. Just mine. I look around my kitchen. My house. Mine again. Filled with memories I chose to keep. With furniture I selected. With photos I hung. With life I'm living on my terms. The richest thing I own isn't what I kept. It's what I refuse to let them take. My voice. My worth. My right to be loved without being destroyed by it. And when Cameron's 18, when I put Richard's watch in his hand, I'll make sure he knows something his grandma Julie learned the hard way. That you're worth fighting for. That your boundaries matter. That being kind doesn't mean being a target. That the people who really love you will rise to meet your standards. Not perfectly. Not easily, But eventually, that's the legacy that matters. And someday, Cameron will learn it too. Not perfectly, not easily, but completely. And I'll never lose them again. I take a sip of coffee, look out the window at my backyard, the October light slanting through the trees, and I smile, because I'm still here, still standing, still whole. Julie Watson, 68 years old, living in Prince George's County, Maryland, a widow, a mother, a grandmother, and finally, no longer a fool. Where are you listening from? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Thank you for watching Voices of Grace. Choose what you want to watch next on the screen.